When you have a baby, you may not know exactly what they should be wearing and in what weather. So we're gonna talk about that today, and we're gonna start off with the most easy, simple, like most people know this. You definitely need to have onesies for your babies. The reason why we love onesies is because they can buckle under the crotch. That means that it's going to stay on, so when your baby is rolling around, reaching and playing with toys, that it's not riding up and exposing their skin to cold air. So that's really the number one reason why I love onesies. That's why I always promote using a onesie either as like the main top for the outfit or as an undershirt layer. The other reason why onesies are fantastic is because they have like a layered fabric up here on the shoulders, so that if your child has a blowout and you don't want to put it over their head, you can simply stretch out the fabric at the top and go under and go down, so that you don't have to worry about that huge mess. Definitely, number one, get some onesies. Number two, you can get onesie extenders. Onesie extenders are amazing because a lot of babies will grow longer before they grow fatter. So the onesies will still fit, but maybe the length doesn't. And if you just get some extenders, then you can extend the lifetime or the lifespan of being able to put your baby in that onesie. The third thing that I'm gonna say was my absolute favorite with my kids, and that is pants with feet attached. Not feet, little like footies. Imagine if you had like pants with like little feet and like toes sticking out of them. I'm so weird sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like little pants with the little footsies attached. The socks are attached, whatever you want to call it, because socks come off so easily. I just did a poll on my Instagram page asking what socks actually stay on their babies, and I did not get very many responses other than they all fall off. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I definitely recommend the pants with the footies on them. Item number 4 that you need are hats and mittens. Now this doesn't Crunchy Magoo. This doesn't just go for winter hats, this also goes for summer hats, making sure that your baby is able to keep the sun out of their face so that they can A, see without the sun glaring in their face, and also so they're not getting a sunburn. So it's a pretty well-known fact, I think, that your heat is going to come out of your extremities. So if your baby is going to be cold, you're going to feel cold fingers, a cold nose, and cold toes. So that is why having a hat, having mittens, and having socks is going to be important for your baby. Number 5, we're gonna revisit the socks and booties. So just be forewarned that socks are going to fall off. So instead of socks, I like to recommend little booties because those will have the elastic around the ankle, or at least something a little bit more supportive than socks. And I don't mean supportive as in like when they're walking, because if your child is of walking age and size and ability, then they should be totally barefoot as much as possible. That's like a story for another day. But if your child is very, very little and maybe they're grabbing their feet often, they are probably not gonna wanna wear socks. At least if they're one of my kids, they never liked wearing socks. They would all take their socks off. So definitely make sure that if you're gonna have booties on those babies' toesies, that there's something that's gonna stay on, because otherwise it's just pointless and you're gonna have little lost socks all over the place, and then you're never gonna be able to find a match. So honestly, like, make sure that they are going to stay on or just don't have them. So now we're gonna talk about coats, jackets, and those big, bulky, like marshmallow jackets. Now, should you get one? You could, but do you need one? No. What I recommend generally is to just get a snowsuit for the winter and then just grab sweaters for cold days that you can actually layer on with those onesies. Like if they're cold during a cooler summer night, or if it's spring or fall and you wanna just add, what on earth are you doing? Thank you. So coats really are not that important. If you want to get one, go ahead. But if you think that you're just going to use a coat in the car seat when you're going from point A to point B, and then they're just going to take it off when you get somewhere, you might as well opt for a car seat cover. Now, these can go like directly over your child's car seat so they're still able to breathe. They have one of those little face holes for their little face to pop out and to, of course, have fresh air. So I generally recommend that. You always want to put your kid in the car seat with just their clothes on. And if you don't have a car seat cover, you can get them into their car seat all buckled in the way that they safely need to be buckled in. And then you could always put blankets over them and just kind of wrap their legs with blankets, or you could get one of those car seat covers. I know this isn't technically clothing, but because we're talking about jackets, I wanted to touch on that quickly. Now, the biggest thing that we're gonna talk about here is swaddles and sleep sacks. I have a whole slew of different things that I want to show you. So I'm gonna start with something I don't recommend. It's kind of hard to see this through video, but this is one of those swaddles. It actually has Velcro on it so that you can Velcro your baby into it. So what it would have you do is just wrap it up and you connect the Velcro, and then your baby should be Velcroed into the swaddle. However, I don't love this, especially this brand. I'm gonna be a little bit brand specific right now because there is a brand that I do love and I will show you that. But if you have a very weak Velcro, your child is going to break out of it. The whole point of the swaddle is to dampen or to mute that moral reflex so they're not startling themselves awake. And if the swaddle just isn't strong enough to hold your baby and your baby is stronger than the Velcro on the swaddle, then bye, you don't need it. This kind, it's the same thing. Like, if I can just like so easily open it up, like this is so adorable. Look at how beautiful the print is, but this is not that functional. It looks so warm and so cozy. It's got fleece on the inside. And I do think that for a baby who doesn't have a very strong moral reflex, I think that it could be okay. But if you're finding that your baby is breaking out of the swaddle, this actually becomes a suffocation hazard. Because if you think about it, if the arms of the swaddle are opening while they're sleeping and it gets over their face and they don't have the ability to move it out of their face yet, then you never know. One swaddle I do love is the Halo swaddle. I love Halo. I love their sleep sacks. I love their swaddles. This one is actually a swaddle. It seriously has the strongest Velcro on earth. And it has a zipper that goes from top to bottom so that when your baby is sleeping and in the middle of the night you have to do a change, you can just zip it from the bottom up to the top. You want me to swaddle you in there? Come here. I'm gonna swaddle you in here like a little baby. No, put your arms down. Put your arms down, baby. Put your arms down. And you just swaddled him in there all nice and tight. He's too big. He's just too big for the swaddle life. I will put a link in the description box down below to the sleep sacks and swaddles that I do approve of, this being one of them. One of the sleep sacks that I really love is ones with the long sleeves, because in the winter time, your kid's probably gonna get cold. You wanna make sure that they are able to be warm and yet not confined to a swaddle. So this adds long sleeves and it is the swaddle bottom. So this is always a great option. This is the Just One You made by Carter's brand. These were always my go-to and they were great for my kids. On to the next. So I know we were talking about Halo brand. This is a Halo sleep sack, which I really enjoy. It has the same feature where it zips from top to bottom so that you could do those middle of the night changes. And instead of being a swaddle, it is a sleep sack, but it does not have the arms. It just has arm holes. So I really love this one. And when it comes to sleep sacks and swaddles, you wanna make sure that you're using the right size. And on the tag, it will tell you this is 0 to 6 months and 10 to 18 pounds. You wanna go more by weight than you do go by age. Okay, this is another sleep sack that I have that actually just confused me for like a solid 30 seconds. Oh wait, what? I'm confused. It has 2 zippers, so you can do a top to bottom overnight zip or like morning zip. And if they have a total blowout, you could do from bottom to top, whatever is easier for you. So there's also the sleep sacks that have options. This does not have sleeves. I know you can hear Joshua running around the house, but this kid just does not like being any little bit away from me. So he's gonna be in and out of this video, which is fine. Make sure that if you have a sleep sack or anything, pajama set, anything, make sure that if it has a zipper on top, that it also has a snap that's going to conceal it in there. The last thing you would wanna do is have your baby pulling on the zipper part, maybe putting it in their mouth and chewing on it and choking. So you wanna make sure that it is down and snapped in there. Now this is a transitional swaddle slash sleep sack, and I love this brand. This is the Zippity Zip, and what I love about it is that your baby is not confined to the swaddle anymore, but their arms are not totally free. So it kind of is like a little star where their arms are still in, and the arms do taper into a more narrow little spot here where their hands will go, and a lot of babies will suck on the end of it. But this is a great product by a great company, and I have been supporting them for a very long time. This is the Sleeping Baby Zippity Zip brand, and people love these, people swear by these. I only was able to use it with my third. I used this with Joshua because I didn't know about this brand before I had Timmy or Kaya. But by the time I had Joshua, I finally had it figured out that this is a great transitional thing to use from swaddle to sleep sack, and he loved it. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to talk about was these little, what are they even called? It's not a dress, it's kind of like a nightgown that it has like this elastic on the bottom. So it is kind of like a sleep sack, but it doesn't close. It doesn't have that enclosure. So I would maybe I honestly wouldn't use this for sleep. I would use it maybe for play during the day. I honestly don't really see that much of a functionality with these, but people love them and gifted it to me, and I honestly probably used it once or twice. So I mean, I'm neither here nor there with that. Take it or leave it, but it is an option. The option's out there, so there you have it. One more item that I did want to touch on is weighted sleep sack options. This is a weighted sleep sack, and obviously I can't say here, hold it, for you to feel it, but it has these little micro beads inside of it. I don't know, guys, I don't know. So first of all, weighted sleep items are not recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, and that is what I go based off of with my one-on-one clients. So I don't generally recommend this for my clients. And then I actually did have one of my clients test this out before the American Academy of Pediatrics changed their recommendations, because these weren't a thing. These weren't a thing when I first went into business, but then they were, and then the American Academy of Pediatrics had to kind of catch up with the new products on the market. So I had one of my clients try this out, and she said her kid hated it. And because her kid is a belly sleeper, he would roll over onto his belly and be sleeping on top of these beads, and he didn't like it. So obviously you could have your baby wear it backwards, but then you're dealing with the back having a higher cut neckline than the front, and I don't know. So I'm not really here for it, but some people swear by it, so go ahead and do you. But those are all my suggestions and recommendations for your newborn clothing essentials. It really is so basic, but there are so many options out there on the market that sometimes it just becomes difficult to know, what does my baby really need? What are they going to be comfortable in? It really, all you have to do is make sure that your kid is warm enough, but not too warm. You want to keep them in a room between 68 and 72 degrees. And if they feel cold, put mittens on them. Make sure they have socks on, put a hat on them. Your baby is generally a little bit colder than you are because they don't have as much body fat, unless you have a super chunker. I definitely had a 1 or 2.5 super chunkers in my life. But the rule of thumb is generally that your baby should be wearing 1 layer more than what you're wearing. So if I'm just wearing a sweater right now, then what you would want for your baby is a onesie underneath the sweater and then the sweater. Just kind of keep that in mind and don't stress about it. There's just so much noise on the internet, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed about it. So if you ever have any questions, just shoot me a DM on Instagram over at Slumber and Bloom, and keep blooming. Mwah!